Hey, what's up guys? So today we are going to see how we can make some kind of an automated door system inside of Unity. As you can see, if this ball comes near the door, it will open, and if it leaves, it just closes. And as you can see, it also supports the mid-state transition. So if it was opening and it just suddenly goes away, it works. And it also supports multiple objects. So if we have two balls near and one of them decides to leave, it stays open until the other one decides to leave as well. So let's see how we can set this up real quickly, and it's actually very easy as well. So here in the scene we have the door. Actually we've got two frames and a door glass. None of this is actually necessary. This can be anything that you want. What we are concerned about is the actual parent with the automatic door script, as well as these two balls. So in your case, these would most likely be any entities that should be able to open the door. The only thing that you'd have your entities to have would be a layer. This layer for us is the player, but if you, let's say, had another one called door trigger, then you can just assign it to your players, and in here in the automated door you can just assign door trigger and it will work. So basically we just use the layer mask to decide on when to actually open the door. As for the variables of the automatic door script, we've got the door transform, which is basically the glass object, the thing that will be animated. And then we've got the close position, which is the position of the door glass when it is actually closed. So for instance, it's at 0, 0. It's here. And then we've got another position, which is the open position. For us it is at negative 6.13. So this would help the algorithm to actually smoothly animate the door from the open to the closed position. We've got a Boolean flag, which indicates whether or not the door is currently open or closed. We've got a duration. This indicates how fast the door should open and close. Right now it's at 1 second, but if you wanted it to go really fast, let's say 0.1 second, you just switch that up, and as you can see, it's very fast. And then we've got the distance. The distance represents how far away the object should be in order for it to open. So if we increase the range, as you can see, the further the object, the more it will trigger the door, and if we decrease it, it has to be very close. The layer mask, as we already saw, this is what tells the algorithm which one to look for. So if this object is a player one, for instance, and we want the door to only find players, we'll just assign it here. And if this one, which is a door trigger layer, then it won't actually consider it. But if we were to also include it here, then it's considered. So also another thing here is the on-door triggered event. This essentially allows us to hook up functions right into the editor. For instance, if I click on add, let's say whenever this door is opened, we want to disable this game object. So what we would do is we add a new entry. We would drag and drop the game object into this field and then select the function. So in our case, it would be gameObject.setActive. And now if we were to have this one go a little bit further, as you can see, the game object disappears, and if it comes near, it just re-enables, and this goes on and on. So this, you could also hook it up with pretty much any scripts that you have, and you could do it really easily in the editor. So now let's take a look at the scripting side of things. So here is the automatic door script. Again, we have the variables that we just saw, and we have a private variable for the coroutine called co. This allows us to store the coroutine that we are using to animate the door animation. We'll take a look at this in a few. So on void fixed update, what we are doing is calling the physics.overlap sphere. We are feeding it the current position, the distance, and a layer mask. So what this essentially does is it draws a fake or imaginary sphere around the position that we feed, for the distance that we give it, and then for every colliders that has the layer mask or the layer that we feed in, it will just store it in an array variable and return it. So we are just saving this variable here, and then we're also saving the current state of the door. So we are saving it in prev bool, and we are overriding isOpen. So we are overriding the current state, whether or not checking if there was any colliders in the range that we gave. So if colliders.length is greater than 0, it means that there was something in the range. And if the previous state and the current state does not match, we trigger onDoorTriggered and we pass in the isOpen, as well as we call the toggle door. Here is the toggle door method, which is very simple. First, we check whether or not the coroutine that we saved actually is not default. If it's not default, then it's likely that our twin coroutine is still running, so the door is still animating. What we want to do is we just stop this before continuing. So we stop the door wherever it was. So let's say it was open midway when the player just decided to go away. We just stop the door right there, mid path, and then we call the twin coroutine using the new isOpen variable. So this indicates the new state. And what the coroutine does is it will override isOpen again. This is just a safety. For instance, if we did not modify isOpen earlier, then this will ensure that it is modified. And then we get the start position by basically getting the current position of the door transform, and then the target position will be based on open. So if it was open, if we need it to open, we'll pass in the open position, as we pass in the closed position. And then here we are basically just doing a small timer, and in that timer we are calling vector3.lob from start position to target position at time t. This allows us to smoothly animate the door in and out of the start position. And lastly, we are just snapping the door transform to the target position, and then we have a gizmo, but that is optional. So now let's go back to Unity. So here we are back inside of Unity. So if you guys followed this tutorial carefully, then you should have a fully working door system inside of it. And if you guys found this video helpful, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe if not already, and also tell me guys what you want me to cover on next. So yeah, so on this note, I'll see you guys next one. Bye.